voice of sharing. Durian ASEAN.
ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Good morning, this is Arlene and you are listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing. In our Tuesday morning today, we will bring you news from Southeast Asia. Of course, start off with news in Malaysia. Apparently, 18 was arrested in a Low Yat brawl aftermath. A total of 18 people which have been arrested over 2 days in connection with the thief and subsequent riots near the Low Yat Plaza. City Police Chief Command Datuk Tajuddin Muhammad Isa said that those arrested were aged between 16 and 40, including the man who was suspected of stealing a mobile phone at the shopping complex a few days ago. In fact, those arrested were connected to 4 cases. There are cases of theft and riot on Saturday and 2 cases of rioting with weapons on Sunday night. He refuted claims that the main suspect in the thief case was actually a victim of fraud, whereby he was sold a cloned phone. He said that it is not true at all, and the same suspect is actually the son of a policeman. There are too many rumors and false news in the social media. This is one of the reasons violence escalated last night and early in this morning. The police also confirmed that the main investigation was focused on theft of a mobile phone, and it was not racially motivated. In fact, in all social media, a lot of the people, Malaysians especially, were very conflicted in terms of their response towards the issue, partly because there were so many rumors flying around. But the police assured that all social media users should think rationally and not be influenced by unverified news and information. He also assured the public and police presence would be beefed up at the area around Bukit Bintang to maintain order near the Low Yat area. In fact, the police assure the public as well that things are under control and people are safe to go to all areas. Commander Tajuddin, he said that police will be monitoring social media and did not rule out actions against those who spread false news and incites hatred among the people. Well, for those that incites hatred in Malaysia, I hope that you can stop doing that because it's so 1969. For us Malaysian, we should move forward, keep calm and think rationally, as well as make sure that we are not influenced by rumors, but see this as an issue of theft, thugs and cops, not really an issue regarding on race at all. Race should no longer be actually part of squabbles or politics in this country. Yeah, we should move on from that. Talking about moving on, apparently Myanmar's President Thein, he has moved on and saying that he will not run for second term. Myanmar President Thein has decided not to run in a parliamentary election scheduled November 8, which is their first general elections since 1990. A senior official from his office said, confirmed it on Monday. So he will not be eligible for a second term as the head of state. The president wrote a letter to Yu Shorman, chairman of the ruling USDP party, that he will not run in the next general election because of his health condition. The former military commander was elected to parliament in 2010 after Than Shri's long regime. From there on, an electoral college nominated him as one of the 3 vice presidents and subsequently president. USDP head Shoman held a one-on-one meeting with opposition leader Aung San Suu Kyi after receiving Tencent's letter. And Suu Kyi said on last weekend that her National League for Democracy party would participate in the election, ending months of uncertainty. The vote is being billed as Myanmar's first legitimate election in 25 years. Moving on, in Myanmar as well, Aung San Suu Kyi confirmed that her party will contest in November elections. Announcements by leaders of Burmese positions ends months of uncertainty, which is a great news because everyone is looking forward for Aung San Suu Kyi to be most probably the next leader for Myanmar. Opposition leader Aung San Suu Kyi confirmed her party, National League for Democracy, will contest despite her being barred from presidency due to some error in the constitution, which was unfortunately drafted only in 2008 during the military regime itself. This is to announce officially the NLD will be contesting the elections which will be held on the November 8th. She confirmed at the capital of Naypyidaw over the weekend. The Nobel Peace Laureate, who spent 15 years under house arrest, is barred from the country's top job because of a constitutional provision excluding those with foreign children. Her late husband was British and she has 2 British sons. Last month, Myanmar's parliament voted against constitutional amendments that would allow Suu Kyi to run for the presidency. There was widespread speculation that the NLD, expected to win a considerable number of seats in both houses of parliament, might boycott the elections in response. But her party has a plan that she believes would be acceptable to, of course, the people of Myanmar, and to tackle the bar, although she didn't detail about it immediately. Of course, she said that they are going on into the election without having an idea of how they are going to intend to handle this problem. She also complained that there are errors in the voting list. If there's an error, it means that the voter concerned will not be able to cast his or her vote on the day of election, which is something that needs to be rectified quickly by the Election Commission in Myanmar. The elections holds the promise of being the next steps towards full democracy for a nation run by a repressive military junta for nearly half a century. President Thein, former general, pushed through a reform in 2011 which lifted Western sanction, but the NLD and activists say many are just superficial. Political prisoners still remain in jail and the media is tightly controlled. On the other hand, news about Cambodia is still very much at large because the country just passed a controversial law to regulate NGOs. Cambodia passed on Monday a contentious law to regulate non-governmental organizations, which government critics fear will be used to muzzle opposition. All 68 members of parliament from the ruling Cambodian People's Party backed the law, while the opposition Cambodia National Rescue Party boycotted the assembly session, saying the public had not been consulted and the bill should be dropped. Thousands of riot police were outside parliament in the capital Phnom Penh to keep back hundreds of protesters, waving banners and balloons, calling for the law to be scrapped. There have been growing international calls for Cambodia to drop the law, including from the European Union and the United States, which have said the law restricts the activities of civil society groups and defenders of human rights, which the law required Cambodia's 5,000 domestic and international NGOs to report their activities and finances to the government. Failure to do so can result in fines, criminal prosecution, and closure of organization. Before, the Cambodians were not able to control NGO on where they get their funds and how it was used, but now they can do so with the law. Another country that is also tightly controlling its NGO, of course, is Singapore. And addressing international criticism, Deputy Prime Minister Keng of Cambodia, who is also a top ruling party member, defended the legislation and said criticism of it was acceptable. This law is good. We have spent 20 years on this law. That's what Keng told to reporters. People have a right to criticize. Nothing is perfect. The government said that the law also aims to prevent the funding of terrorism, but has not said if such a threat exists in Cambodia. That's for sure. So perhaps it's just the government being a bit over paranoid towards its own civil society. On the other hand, in India, so great news that India is implementing Act East policy with ASEAN. So bigger countries, neighboring countries in the Asia Pacific are definitely eyeing on ASEAN. Of course, India also does not want to miss the boat. The ASEAN-India partnership have been remarkably strengthened after President Narendra Modi introduced India's Act East policy last year. The aim is to concretize the Look East policy, kind of similar to Malaysia's Look East policy, seems like, initiated 2 decades ago. India's foreign policy towards Southeast Asia is driven by increasingly complex regional interdependence and dynamism. India wishes to grasp benefits from the realization of ASEAN community by end of this year. Deepening regional integration generates more opportunity for India and ASEAN to grow together in a wider ASEAN community. India's regional role has made it the second largest population in the world after China, and a young and growing population as well. And because of that, India has been enjoying quite high economic performance with an average growth of 7.2%, and regional countries will be benefiting from India's growing economic powers and potentials. With a GDP of $1.8 billion, it's the world's 4th largest economy and certainly a valuable economic partner for ASEAN. India also have proven its responsibility towards ASEAN, playing an important role in maintaining peace and stability in the region. Non-traditional security cooperation takes the center stage of the bilateral cooperation. India and ASEAN have signed the Framework Agreement on Comprehensive Economic Partnership Cooperation in 2004, reached a trade agreement on goods in 2009. Both groupings are also moving from intra-religion trade facilitation in goods to the creation of regional production networks through the promotion of trade in services and investment cooperation. So hopefully that India and Southeast Asia will move along together side by side, not just in terms of economic ties, but also security cooperation, which India has pledged to be more involved, especially in the case of the South China Sea. Also, greater dialogue between both countries or groupings, which led to the mechanisms such as the ASEAN Regional Forum, ASEAN Defense Minister Meeting Plus, and expanded ASEAN Maritime Forum and East Asia Summit, which India and Southeast Asia would benefit tremendously in these dialogues. We will take a short break. When we return, we will discuss more on the economic side of Southeast Asia.
ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hey, this is Arlene. You're back again on our ASEAN Daily Tuesday morning. So, regarding on economy in Southeast Asia, in Myanmar, villagers hope to get rich from its oil rush. Apparently, Myanmar is one of the world's oldest oil producing countries, having exported its first barrel in the mid 18,000. I didn't know about it. Since then, however, Myanmar's onshore oil reserve have gone mostly untapped, largely due to decades of rule in the 20th century by a military junta that nationalized the industry while discouraged both foreign and local drilling. But after a civilian government came to power in 2011, some restrictions have been lifted, including one on independent oil drilling. That would be very interesting, seeing that Myanmar is picking up as one of probably very few oil-producing countries in Southeast Asia, besides Malaysia, Brunei, and also Indonesia. Looking forward to see how it will transform the lives of Myanmar villagers as well as Myanmar as a whole, seeing that they are definitely moving robustly forward in terms of their economic sector. On the other hand, talking about economic sector, Malaysia, despite all its squabbles on racial politics, is still ranked 6th most attractive investment destination. The question is why? Malaysia's jumped 5 ranks to 6th position in this year's ranking of destinations of attractiveness for foreign investment, which was published by the Foreign Policy magazine. These factors cover economic growth, financial stability, physical security, corruption, expropriation by government, exploitation by local partners, capital controls, and exchange rates. The BPI circulations also incorporates change made by the World Bank in its measurement of GDP, such as the revised method to compare living standards across the country. It seems like an interesting news for Malaysia, especially seeing that a lot of negativity in both the economic and political climate, the decline in the ringgit value, as well as heightened fear among Malaysians of another racial politics. This kind of news is perhaps a positive news that people can take into mind, that Malaysia is still very much attractive by foreign direct investments. On the other hand, talking about getting more FDI in, Indonesia is also doing something pretty unique. It plans to create a beauty contest between China and Japan for high-speed train. The Indonesian government says it will organize a beauty contest between China and Japan, the winner of which will be awarded a high-speed train project to connect Jakarta and Bandung. Indonesia is definitely moving forward in terms of its infrastructure building. Jokowi has pledged to use majority of the investment that it has to rebuild key infrastructure, and of course transportation is one of the area that would definitely strengthen Indonesia in the future. It deeply and seriously in need of public transportation. The high-speed train would definitely ease businesses and social-cultural aspect of Indonesia. So regarding on the beauty contest, the two interested nations, China and Japan, which have conducted a comprehensive study on the project, are Japan with its Shinkansen bullet trains and China with their own speed technique. Coordinator Minister for the Economy, Sofian Jalil, said after a cabinet meeting in Jakarta to discuss the issue. So, the best will win. The government will prepare an award for the quote-unquote beauty contest. Well, regarding on the beauty contest, it seems like only China and Japan so far had shown interest in building high-speed railway networks that would connect Jakarta and Bandung. My question is, Europe and the US, perhaps you guys want to join in and show your powers to build more high-speed trains in Indonesia. On the other hand, talking about moving forward to new technology, renewable energy, and something for the future, we go to Thailand. Thailand is igniting solar power investment in Southeast Asia. How cool is that? In December, Thailand will have more solar power capacity than all of Southeast Asia combined, as record sums of money is poured into the sector in the hopes of nurturing a new energy source to help drive the region's second biggest economy. Thailand has been shifting away from natural gas as once plentiful reserves are expected to run out within a decade, forcing it to rely on imported fuel, which actually is not really sustainable at all than any other country in the region, except for, of course, Singapore. They are just an island with no resources. So for Thailand to be in the same situation in Singapore is not a good idea. And having that solar power investment definitely would put Thailand on one of the top in terms of refocusing its energy towards renewable energy sources. And a plunge in solar component costs and subsidized tariffs have also helped feed the country's solar boom. Hopefully the boom will spread around Southeast Asia as well, not just in Thailand. So we will take another short break. When we return, we will talk more about the social-cultural aspect of Southeast Asia.
ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia.
Hey, you're with me again, Arlene, and of course you're with our ASEAN Daily, where I bring you news on Southeast Asian matters. So, previously we reported that in Myanmar they had first ever KFC, and now a beer company, Heineken, opening its plant, a brewery plant worth $60 million in Myanmar. How cool is that? Myanmar is definitely getting a lot of interesting companies to open their plant. The Dutch beer giant Heineken announced that it had opened a multi-million-dollar brewery in Myanmar, seeking to cash in on one of Asia's high-growth markets. Heineken has opened a $60 million brewery in Myanmar, which has a total capacity of 330,000 hectoliters per year, which will directly employ more than 200 local people. The new brewery opening further expands Heineken exposure to high-growth markets. Myanmar is emerging from decades of isolation and is being seen as one of the largest population in Southeast Asia with more than 53 million people. Quoting from the ASEAN Development Bank figures that the country is now undergoing rapid urbanization and a brisk expansion of its middle-class consumer. Definitely a consumer market that Heineken do not want to miss. And also the strong economic and demographic of Myanmar helped drive US $8.1 billion in foreign direct investment in 2015. Which is a great news for Myanmar. Valued at around 35 billion euro, Heineken is Europe's largest and the world's third largest brewery after SAB Miller and global number one in beef. Heineken produces and sells more than 200 brands of beer and cider and employs nearly 7,000 people around the world. On the other hand, talking about arts and culture, of course, Cambodia have its own Re-enchanting the world with performing arts. What we really need in the capitalist, power-driven, exploitative consumerist world, according to social critic David Corton, is, well, new story. Flippant, not necessary. If new stories means alternative ways to envisage living out our life, then the very future of humanity may depend on them, as Corton argues in his new book, The Great Turning. New stories can reorient us towards a different set of values, then prioritize equality, responsibility, and social justice. So creating new stories means that Cambodia itself needs to focus on its culture and history and try to envision what kind of future that it wants to aspire. So through classical and contemporary dance, the ensemble in Myanmar explore issues on of social relevance to their homeland Cambodia. One work in their repertoire is the dance drama A Band in the River, a collaboration between Shapiro and composer Him Sopi. The work retells an old folk tale about a young girl, Kale, who finds her family eaten by a crocodile and seeks to avenge them. So the tale itself, coping with injustice, resonates personally with Shapiro, whose father and two brothers were among the 1.7 million who died during the Khmer Rouge regime. For composer Sopi too, the performing arts represent pathway to personal and social healing. His latest work in progress, A Requiem for Cambodia, addresses the trauma of the genocide 4 decades after Phnom Penh fell to Khmer Rouge. On the other hand, talking about social justice, one interesting activity that Myanmar youth are doing right now is definitely a campaign that is so unique. Everybody can do it. It's called the My Friend Selfie campaign. As Myanmar's Buddhists, Rohingya Muslims clash, students launched the My Friend Selfie campaign to promote tolerance. How cool is that? I think Malaysia can learn one or two from that because we're also having our own racial politics here, especially in multicultural societies. Quite common to have clashes between extremist group and what is interesting within this My Friend campaign is a group of students in Myanmar started this social media selfie campaign, posting it on Facebook and Instagram. The campaign uses social media and also Twitter as well, taken by multi-ethnic groups of students from Myanmar. Aims to show that the country's younger populations are over all this racial politics and accepts each other regardless of religion and ethnic background. So far, the group had received about 1,700 likes on Facebook. And according to its co-founder, YY Nu, a member of the Myanmar's Rohingya Muslim population and one of the My Friend campaign co-founder, everybody loves to take selfie, right, in their own way. So why don't we use it in the proper way for the betterment of society? Yeah, that's one thing that I think the younger generation can contribute towards a more positive discussion on issues regarding on identity and nation building. Well, enough about Earth. Let's move on to the universe. Well, I'm talking about NASA. Do you know that NASA's spacecraft is making an even closer, or probably the closest ever pass by Pluto? We always talk about Pluto, especially when we were young. It's this dwarf planet that is so distant away, but we don't really have a clue how it really looked like close up. So this is the closest that a NASA spacecraft is set not just to be there, but to sail by Pluto during its mission 3 billion miles from Earth, and has done its job in capturing detailed images of the dwarf planet. And research has been collecting data from New Horizons for the past 6 months, as the spacecraft, which is about the size of a baby grand piano with its disc antenna attached, has hurled towards the tiny former planet. A final pre-flyby image of Pluto will be received by NASA researcher actually around today morning, which will take hours definitely, and it's likely to be stunning. So I think we will keep up with the story and hopefully share with all of our listeners on the beautiful graphic of Pluto itself on our social media platform. Well, talking about NASA, another interesting thing that happened yesterday. Do you know that a Malaysian teen wins honor of having an asteroid named after her by NASA? How cool is that? This is according to this kid. Her name is Fei Jong Sho Fei, and her name now is officially a name that is being used by an asteroid. So that's it. Congratulations, and so proud of her that at least, there's a star named after her, and that is something that, well, what is probably like a once in a lifetime experience. So that's all from us today. We hope to bring you more news from Southeast Asia tomorrow as well. Monday to Friday is our time at 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the morning. GMT +8. And of course, you can always keep up with us on our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And of course, go to our website, duranasian.com, and you can always listen to us on the go by downloading the TuneIn app and search for Durian ASEAN.